All right, guys, here we go with the notes for Chapter 11, Content Marketing, Publishing Articles, White Papers, and Ebooks. Let's first talk about articles and the way that you would distribute those articles. One method is by means of an article directory. An article directory is a website where users submit original articles for approval and syndication. Syndication in this case basically just meaning the free distribution to other websites with proper attribution. Now, the articles are organized in the categories on the article directory so that they can be moved, let's try that again, so that they can be more easily found by readers and website owners for dissemination. If you do an online search for article directory, you'll be able to find several different ones that are out there. An article submission generally runs somewhere around 400 to 500 words in length. It's going to have a 2 or 3% keyword density. What keyword density is the percentage of times that a word appears in an article. So as search engines search through those different articles, they're able to pick out those words, and that's where they get the idea of keyword density. A directory article also tends to have a highly descriptive title. Basically, from reading the title, you get the sense of what the article is going to be about or what purpose it is going to serve. Article brevity, appropriate keyword density, and careful titling are done to optimize the chances that the piece will be ranked at the top of search engine results. So those are things that these are attributes of articles that help you to be able to be found and that people are going to be attracted to in order to read. Therefore, the more people that find it, the more people that read it, that's also going to be helpful for you. However, directory articles lack the copy editing and editorial oversight of professional publications such as magazines or newspapers. They don't go through quite the rigorous editing process. So there are times that you may see grammatical errors or some syntax issues and things like that. That is one thing to be aware of. The first step in article-based marketing is to produce article content that the target audience will be interested in reading. Obviously, if you write an article and nobody reads it, well, you've wasted your time. Create something that is going to appeal to the audience that you are trying to reach out to so that they will actually take in the content that you have. In many ways, the requirements for strong article content are very similar to those for blogs. But what really distinguishes an article from a blog is the length of the piece and the depth of the content. So a blog is generally going to be much shorter and not necessarily have as much detailed information as an article would. As an article takes time and forethought, readers will typically expect more research, fact-checking, and polish than they do from blogs. Blogs are generally going to be seen more as a off-the-cuff kind of commentary sort of thing, whereas articles are seen to be something that can be more of a true reference point that's going to have certain data, evidence to back up the things that are said in the article and that sort of thing. Some article directories offer expert or frequent contributor status to their best authors and feature these writers' works more prominently. So the more that you write and the more that you are seen as credible, you may get this tag or this title whenever you contribute content, and it kind of makes you seen as more of an authority on the particular topics that you are writing on. One of the most important steps to creating successful article content is to choose a good title. In order to draw in readers, the title should be concise and descriptive, as well as give a solid idea about the topic. So you want to have brevity, but you want to have detail at the same time. So you want to choose your words in such a way that it truly gives the scope of what your article is about, but you don't necessarily want a title that is a paragraph in and of itself either. To generate interest, the title should bring to mind a question that the reader wants to have answered. This need creates an incentive to view the content. So it's kind of taken that idea that we've talked about in past chapters, basically answering the question for the person that may consume that content. Well, what's in it for me? Make it something that is going to help them to be able to meet a need, solve a problem, address something that they're interested in. And obviously, if they check all the boxes in those categories, they will go ahead and read that article. Above all, though, the article itself should deliver on the promise made by the title. It is important to adequately address the question or issue being discussed. You don't want to provide a title for an article and then the article has nothing to do really with that particular thing that you talked about in the title. Clickbait. You're going to get a lot of angry people at you if you do things like that and you do that continuously. Think of that idea of truth in advertising. So what it is that you claim that you are going to talk about is going to indeed be the thing that you talk about. Moving on to white papers and ebooks. A good white paper is written for a business audience. White papers for a business audience. They define a problem. They offer a solution. And this is important. It does not pitch a particular product or company. The white paper is seen more as you can think of it more as a academic, scholarly, informational-based sort of document, and it's not necessarily meant to be a long, overdrawn advertisement for a product or service. Marketing messages in a white paper, if they are used, should be subtle. So you have to be very crafty with your wording if you're going to try to market a particular product or service within a white paper. What will be an effective white paper is defined mostly by its audience's expectations. This is where listening skills coming in. Know what your audience is looking for. Know the ways that they behave online. Know the things that they are expecting when they are online. Give them what they want. A white paper is expected to have at least 6 pages of text and to provide useful information about a business or technical issue. White paper should contain sources, facts, and figures. Again, you're providing information and data. It's more of a research type of thing where people are learning to gain knowledge from the things that you write. And white papers are typically intended for the reader to review before making a purchase. It's your chance to be able to state the case regarding a certain issue or situation, and taking that to be able to use that opportunity to address those things and perhaps persuade the person reading to make a decision one way or another, and hopefully it's the way that you want them to be able to decide. For the purposes of social media marketing, an ebook can be defined as a PDF formatted document that identifies a market problem and supplies an answer to that problem. Well-executed ebooks have lots of white space, interesting graphics and images, and it has copy that is typically written in a lighter style than a denser white paper. So you're still providing information in an ebook, but generally you are creating that content in such a way that people are not perhaps necessarily looking to scour it for detailed information, but you're still trying to provide basic information on a particular topic or issue, but you're doing so in a much more attractive fashion, where when you're looking on the page, it is rather easy to navigate through the material, that it doesn't take a lot of effort to read through it between the content of the text and the different graphics and pictures that you provide. Taking a look at this now on a personal level, the ways to do personal branding through content marketing on LinkedIn. LinkedIn does provide a way for you to be able to post content, and here are some tips and tricks for you to be able to use that to your advantage in that particular social media circle to be able to expand your area of influence. First off, create content for your audience. While there are special rules to being designated as a LinkedIn influencer, someone who has deep knowledge of a particular subject is basically what that would mean. You can follow those rules and get to that point, but anybody can create and publish blog posts. So take that opportunity, use it to your advantage. Second, use photos and videos. Adding a video or a slide share will increase the number of profile views, which will tell LinkedIn that you are influential to your network. This content will also attract others to you and help you to form valuable connections in your field. Third, monitor the work of your network. By monitoring content of those in your network more closely, you can understand what is important to them and tailor the content that you create in an according sort of fashion. Again, it's listening. It's figuring out what your audience is looking for, how they behave online, the sort of things that they desire as they consume content. Monitor that, pay attention to it, give them what they want. Curate content for your network. Content curation means taking content that already exists and organizing it for your audience. So you're basically compiling things from different sources. You're doing it with permission, of course, and you're providing that information at your on your particular profile page. You can also ask influencers in the field to contribute to your content or ask your audience for feedback and then report back on what they have said. So it's a way for you to be able to do a little research and get some feedback from those that follow you and get directly from the horse's mouth information on what it is that they expect and what they want. Finally, plan and schedule. Not having a plan will make it more difficult to create a loyal following. Try to set goals that are reasonable and could be achieved each month. So you want to have, just like in any other sort of platform, some sort of regularity as to when you post, when you provide content. And as you do that, you want to have a strategy in place as to how you're going to, when you're going to have certain things done by, when you're going to have your post done by, what sort of elements need to happen in order to make that post happen, and keep yourself on schedule in the way that you best possibly can. Marketing with articles, ebooks, and white papers. In most cases, the ultimate goal for article, white paper, or ebook marketing will be the same. So there's going to be three things here that you're trying to do. Number one, you're trying to draw attention and develop a company's reputation from the attention that you get. That reputation would be for thought leadership. Remember that term, that you are seen as an authority in a particular area of expertise. And that thought leadership reputation would then be used in such a way that you can influence and generate sales for your company. If the end goal is to sell a product, doing so effectively with an article, white paper, or ebook will require more subtle framing than with standard advertising pitches. Because again, people are looking at this information that you are providing for the sake of the information, for the sake of the knowledge, not for the sake of being sold to. So don't include the product name in the description or the title. Instead, describe a problem, some common solutions, and then finally discuss what specific benefits the product being marketed has in solving that problem. So it's a way to introduce the product after you've talked about the issue in general from a more objective sort of stance. Put the valuable general information first, and then specific details about the product's advantages towards the end, if they even need to be mentioned at all. If you're crafty enough with your wording in the way that you present your material, you might not have to make a case for the product or service that you're offering. It very well may speak for itself. An advantage of ebooks and white papers is that they have high perceived value to the recipients, and they typically require the reader to provide an email address or other information to download or access. Collecting email addresses through the distribution of a white paper gives valuable leads to the sales team and can also generate information on customer demographics, common areas of interest, and even more. When you do provide valuable information, people are willing to provide an email, a phone number, or some other sort of information in order to gain that free information. And, of course, what you're doing is you're building a prospective client list that you can market to in future emails or other sorts of projects that you're doing. A difference between white papers and ebooks. White papers are primarily used by business-to-business marketers because the tone and content is designed for business executives with a strong component of technical or professional information. You're getting into the nitty-gritty of some of the particulars of what is happening with different issues, different products, all that sort of thing. So you want to be very detailed about how you present that information. Ebooks, on the other hand, are more commonly used in the consumer market and are expected to be entertaining as well as informative. Hence the push for greater white space in an ebook, the use of pictures and illustrations and infographics that catch a person's attention as they're looking through, and help them to be able to spend time with that material to get the information that you are hoping to push through that material, and perhaps you would be able to influence that person as a result.